Hey, genderqueer chat, Joe here, and Eli, rubbing his face against this brush as he does. Okay, so this week's topic was put in by a viewer. We love viewer contributions, so anytime you want to ask a question, feel free to just put it on the Facebook or as a response to one of the videos you see, and we'll always be glad to answer it. Okay, so somebody, Felix from Austria, says, I've been watching your channel for quite a while and found last week's topic especially helpful. I'm not sure which week that was. Okay, but since I'm still not identifying with any label really because of a lack of dysphoria, I was wondering if you could talk about identifying as trans or genderqueer without facing dysphoria. Scat. Do you think it's possible? Is the genderqueer identity the result of suffering from dysphoria equally when put in the male or female category? Do you think dysphoria is the single reason that causes people to identify with the specific label of the transgender umbrella? Now Stanley's squawking. And if not, what else makes you genderqueer or MTF or FTM? Is there such a feeling of being male or female or neither or both? Or is it mainly a response to what society taught us about gender? I'm one of the people, I think, one of the few people maybe on this channel, I'm not sure, no, Stanley's here, who doesn't suffer. I don't think of myself as someone who has dysphoria. Now, somebody, I think it was Matt or Andrea, mentioned on one of the videos earlier this week that dysphoria, there's body dysphoria and gender dysphoria, and I think they're two totally different things. I didn't really realize this. I always thought of dysphoria as being a specific body thing, but it's not. If you look up the definition of dysphoria in the dictionary, it's like a mood. It's having moods associated with. Actually, let me just Google that real quick. Dysphoria. Medical opposite of euphoria. Actually, I did not know that. Greek blah 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 is a medically recognized mental and emotional condition in which a person experiences intense feelings of depression, discontent, and in some cases indifference to the world around them. So I do feel indifferent to the world around me a lot of the time, that's true, but I don't feel depressed or discontent, and they even talk about suicidal. So if dysphoria as it relates to my body, I do not hate my body, I never have. I don't like periods, but I take the pill, the seasonal pill, to drastically reduce it, and I was on Depo-Provera, which was the injection for a lot of years, and that almost stopped it. Like, I get a period a few times a year, and that's, to me, the best of a bad situation. It is kind of like anything else in life, I think. Like I said, even if I were male-bodied, I'm sure there would be things about my body that I wouldn't like. Being female-bodied kind of sucks. There are things about my female body I don't like, but I don't hate it, and I don't choose to change it drastically, like insofar as, reconstruction surgery, sex reassignment surgery, anything like that. Stanley's all up in my business, and everything's kind of a mess right here because I'm going through things. But, okay. So, back to the question. I was wondering if you talk about identifying as genderqueer without facing dysphoria. So, yeah, I would say that my definition of genderqueer has scant little to do with my body parts and way more to do with the way society perceives me and just being perceived. A lot of it has to do with what is expected of a woman and the way women are expected to behave or think. I guess mostly behaviors. I don't care for any sort of expectations to be placed upon me because of my gender. And they start to really grate on my nerves and really can do a number on my psyche. I don't know that I've ever been depressed or, I know I've never been suicidal about it. Let me just see again, depressed or discontent. Sure, I've had some discontent with regards to what people have expected of me, but I usually just think those people who expect that of me are stupid. It's a terrible thing to say, but it's true. I just think people who have gender expectations are stupid. I don't take it personally, and it's their problem, it's not my problem. Like, I don't feel like I'm the one with the problem because I don't fit in society. I feel like society is the one with the problem because they're not accepting of people like me. Is the genderqueer identity the result of suffering from dysphoria equally when put in the male or female category? That's a question I don't know the answer to. I don't know what the answer to that is. Being female-bodied, I think it's socially easier for me, as I've said in previous videos. I'm going to sneeze here. It was socially easier for me to be a tomboy in my life. I think boys who have people who are born into a male body have a harder time being genderqueer because of the homophobic overtones of being a fag or being, it's very less socially acceptable for a boy to behave like a girl than it is for a girl to behave like a boy. I would assume that would play into it quite a bit. Girls can get away with being boyish. It doesn't seem to impact, I don't get beat up because of it. So that would be what my opinions are on the male and female portion. Do you think dysphoria is the single reason that causes people to identify with a specific label of the transgender umbrella? And if not, what else makes you genderqueer? Well, as I just said, what makes me genderqueer is the way I feel in my brain and in the way I wish society would perceive me, or the way I feel when this is probably the best way to put it. The way I feel when society is not expecting anything of me as a gendered activity or a gendered behavior. I find that I'm happiest and I'm just very content. Life is very good when I'm just being myself and people are accepting me as I am. And there's no, expectations put upon me. What makes me genderqueer is definitely got nothing to do with my body. I have a particularly, I guess, a voluptuous female body, and always had. I was always quite top-heavy. I'm not particularly feminine in the face, and I'm not particularly feminine in my, although maybe I am, my gestures and things like that, and the way I speak. But I don't identify with those. That's where the disconnect comes in. I'm rather disconnected from my physical body, and I don't think about it much. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it at all. Sometimes I forget. Well, over time you do get used to your body, I guess, but I'll forget that my boobs are there, so to speak. Like when people are staring at them, sometimes oh yeah, that's right, I'm wearing a low-cut top and that's a lot of cleavage or whatever. But it's a disconnect. It's a definite disconnect. Okay, and the last part of the question was, is there such a feeling of being male or female or neither or both? Or is it mainly a response to what society taught us about gender? I can't speak for other people. I can only speak for me. And I think for me, it's what society has taught us about gender. I can only be me, and I don't think that is distinctly female or distinctly male, and wouldn't even know what those things are, because I definitely feel like neither. I'm neither male nor female. So, yeah, I don't think of, I know some women, they'll say things like, oh, I feel like a woman, like when they have a baby or something like that, they feel like a woman. They'll really like latch onto this gendered activity or thing that they've done with their body, and that really accentuates their femaleness or whatever. And having never had a baby, or that's just an example, but even having a period, for example, there's girls who, when they've had their first period, they feel like a woman and stuff like that, and I never felt that way. Ever, 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 ever. Never felt like that. Okay. I think that's it for me. And next week we've got another viewer topic. I'm looking forward to that. Hope you guys have a great week. See you later.